Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
This is Ed Cohen, your broadcast host on Global TV Talk Show, a unit of globalbusinessnews.net. Globalbusinessnews.net has been in operation since '03, and a friend of mine from Intel was a software developer, and he helped me build this thing. And so we're still using it. And since the pandemic caused our live business to crash and burn in spring of 2020, we've been trying to be a TV talk show host. And so here we are. And this is number 283 in a series of talk shows. And none of them are rehearsed. And so far it's working out okay. So we'll see what happens today. But ordinarily, we collaborate with our guests in advance about some talking points, and then we have a conversation. And we do this on purpose because it helps engage our audience and retain eyeballs on the screen. And our very special guest today will help us do that. It's a no-brainer. Let's welcome Barbara Ulmer. Hello.
Hello, Ed. So nice to be on your show today.
It's really a privilege. You have a great website, and it's BU Language and Learning Center. Is that right?
Yes, that's my business name, and my website is BU Languages.
Okay, .com, right? Okay.
Correct.
All
At
right.
nowsite.com.
Yeah. Okay. So this is all about, well, your background is German.
Yes.
All right. And how long have you been in the States?
I came back to the United States in 2010, so it's been a while already.
Yeah. Oh, good, good. Okay. So now your specialty is helping people, whether it's housewives or whoever, kids,
Yes.
maybe even grandma.
Yes,
learn
anybody, any
learn
age.
how to be comfortable in a strange environment by
Yes.
learning how to speak and learning how to learn
Yes,
from a different perspective. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay,
Because I
so
also embody the culture.
you embody the culture. So what does that mean to you? If you could do a deep dive on that for a minute.
Yes, because when I went to college, I went to Oxford as an assistant teacher, and I felt totally ready language-wise, and I went there and I went shopping, and I was lost because all the everyday vocab I never learned in school. I could speak about Shakespeare and fancy things, but I couldn't buy a broom. So I learned right there that something has to change with the language approach, which means that I've designed a totally different language program which deals with that. What do you literally need if you are dropped off in a country and you don't speak the language and you don't know the culture?
So it's English, French, and German?
Yes, German is my mother tongue. My father is Nigerian. And because of my African heritage, I decided to study French and English because this way I can speak to basically everybody from Africa. And I love this, and it worked very well for me.
Well, good for you. All right, so let's talk about kids, okay? Kids can learn better than old people like me.
Yes, they can learn very well. And we even have theories stating that up to the age of 8, they can learn without any accent. And I tried that with a very, very little student, which was a lot of fun. His mom spoke French and Spanish. The dad spoke English. He was American and had German heritage. So I would start the day speaking German with him. Then I would continue in French. And when I left, the nanny would speak Spanish. And it was amazing. It was just like everything you would say, I would just say it in German and then in French. Oddly enough, he wasn't even surprised that languages changed with the same person during the day. It was just like this. And since I also love music, and I think music helps a lot too, singing and instruments, one day I played with him on the little Fisher piano, you know, those little plastic pianos, and we were singing. And all of a sudden he started walking like at 7 months old. And that wasn't even my intention. He just figured this thing is not only good for music, I can walk with it. And when the parents came to pick him up, they were like, oh my God, this program is working too well. He's so successful, he's already walking. And that
So,
shows how important it is or how much you can achieve.
I have through relationship a grandson who's James, and
Uh-huh.
he's 9, and his mom is fluent in French.
Hmm.
And ever since he was just wrapped up in the blanket,
Yes.
she's been speaking French in his ear.
Hmm.
And so this kid now is bilingual. And
Amazing.
yeah, and so it's really interesting.
Yes. And it doesn't feel like taking a course because it's just mom speaking to you. It's just the
Yeah,
correlation that you have. That's just the mom language.
right. It's interesting stuff. So you have a really cute video on your site, which we'll show later in the post-production. It'll get added in.
Mhm.
So tell us about that approach and why it's so successful for you.
Yes, I decided to design a special program for little kids, especially as a result of the pandemic, because more family violence occurred. So I figured I need something special, a special approach and outlet for younger kids to deal with the trauma they are experiencing. So I offered the program to shelters for women, for battered women, and give the kids a different outlet, and they learn a lot with it. And I use dolls because most kids have dolls, one doll or another. I use American Girl dolls, and I dress them, for example, French with French clothing, and then the doll only speaks French. And this is very important because sometimes I have parents that don't speak French, and the kids catch me speaking English. And to avoid that in my classroom, because it's important that they literally immerse, just like your grandson James, in the language. And that is why I say, well, yes, I can speak English to your parents if needed, but this little doll only speaks French because she's exactly coming from France, from Paris. And then we communicate through the dolls, and it's a lot of fun. It's very interactive, and the kids love it. I also like it because kids are so much on those online devices, and I'm very old fashioned. I always say I come from the old world. So in my case, I love to have hands-on things. I have my doll, you have your doll. So if you're shy, you can always use the doll.
So je parle en français un très peu.
Oui, c'est super, j'aime beaucoup.
I see. So um, what you're talking about makes me think of Sesame Street.
Yes,
And,
it is in a way because they have puppets.
right.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
voices, and they're
Yes.
interacting and they act
Uh-huh.
out. And so it's fascinating to watch, even for me. And 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 you can see why kids, I mean, are just transfixed by this.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me ask you about Oxford. This is
Hmm.
pretty cool. This is quite prestigious. So is that because you were born a genius? I mean, how did you, I mean, that's quite an achievement to go there.
Well, no, I had this opportunity, and I figured this is an amazing opportunity to learn the culture, because coming from Germany, we start with British English. So from fifth to seventh grade, we only learn British English, and in eighth grade, we start American English. That's like our second version of English, but we're deeply rooted in the British tradition. And so when I had the opportunity to go to Oxford, it was a no-brainer for me to work there as an assistant teacher. And I worked at an all-boys private school, and also at a Catholic church school that was like with boys and girls. And it was also interesting to see those different groups of students and their focus and how they responded.
And when you were at Oxford in that position, did you have to wear some kind of special clothing?
Business casual.
Good.
But my students, like the boys, they all wore like the traditional ties, like Goodwill Hunting, and all those big schools. I love the movie with Robin Williams. Those uniforms, those classical Eton uniforms they wore, and they were like so adorable. They would come, take my classes, and then leave saying thank you. They were so well behaved, heavenly students.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. Okay, so in a nutshell, to just be oversimplified for a moment,
Yes.
um, just make believe that I don't know anything about what you do, and
Okay.
and tell our audience by telling me uh, in about 30 seconds what your culture is, what your thinking is in terms of being thrown into an uncomfortable position because of lack of communication skills.
Yes, as a result of this experience in Oxford, I actually wrote my final thesis on intercultural education. I've got a special permission from my French and my English professor. And so I interviewed students in Paris, where I studied later. And I also notated while I was living in Oxford. And so this is when it all came together more and more. Like in Oxford, my teacher, the principal of the all boys school, made this great discovery by saying, even when you learn vocabulary words, you don't learn the same word. You think about semantics. And for example, if you tell a German kid about a school bus, they think about an ordinary bus because we don't have those yellow school buses like Americans have. So even though they learn the word, they need to learn that the word can still have a different meaning. So I was so excited about that, and I embodied that in my program, which has already this cultural aspect. And then when I was studying in Paris, at the end of my studies, I had this amazing grammar professor, and he said basically that grammar is functional. So I've designed really grammar games for my students because I love grammar, always have, but he just had a very important influence on my life because I was thinking, if you use grammar as a function, it makes so much more sense because by the way you speak grammatically, you have a different purpose or a different expectation, which is another big part of my program. So in essence, if you are in a situation where you cannot communicate, um, I make it easy to learn the other language and culture so that you can survive easily and comfortably.
Hi, this is Ed, and I thank you for tuning in to Global TV Talk Show, a unit on globalbusinessnews.net. We broadcast to the world, as you know by now. So I wanted to make sure that you understand that our programs are advertising supported. We're grateful for co-sponsors, advertisers. Um, they have a marketing budget coupled with a strong desire to be associated with our top quality program. And of course, I'm grateful. Thank you. So for the next few minutes, you're going to see some commercials. It's mostly very low key, and our prices are very, very reasonable. Our exposure for the advertisers go 12 months and beyond. Some of our advertisers have been with us since March, April of 2020. And Google Analytics has tracked over 125,000 what they call audience page views, which means you looking at this page, that's a page view. Now, if you happen to go to one of our other shows or to our radio broadcasts or to our newspaper or magazine, those become additional page views as measured by Google Analytics. And so when they say 125,000 since spring of 2020 up through Labor Day, a month ago, that's pretty good numbers. And the past 30 days, Google Analytics has measured just under 6,000 audience page views. And that, according to them, is a 42% increase in audience participation over the month of August. So thank you very much. Well, here's our advertisers, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes or so, and we'll proceed with this interesting conversation. Thank you.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
Hi, I'm Sergey Gorbatov.
I'm Angela Lane.
Together we are researchers, writers and practitioners in the field of human resources.
And we've also been multi-country, multi-assignment career expats.
We owe our professional development and growth to a very large extent to the international assignment opportunities that we have had.
But in a world where distributed work may become the norm, we also want to understand what happened to the nature, duration, and purpose of international assignments.
Together with our colleague, Julian Dalzell from the University of South Carolina, we're undertaking a study on the future of expatriation.
And we'd value your contribution. You can participate in this important study by completing a simple 10-minute questionnaire.
Access the questionnaire by typing in your browser tinyurl.com/expert study. That's tinyurl.com/expert study. You can also find the link here on Ed's website next to this video.
Thank you for joining us in this study. In return for your contribution, we'll provide you with a copy of our research.
And of course, you'll be invited to an exclusive webinar hosted by Ed, where we will share our findings right here on Global Business News.
And so please go to tinyurl.com/expat study. Take the survey so that we can better understand the future of expatriation.
So let's talk about online education. Basically, that's what we're doing right now. We're online and we're talking about education.
Yes.
So technology, okay, artificial intelligence, robots, virtual. What do you see when you think of those words I just used, relevant to what you don't do in a live classroom, but you do right here online?
I see endless opportunities because I can globally work. I can literally work 24/7, and I do so also because I also teach the US Air Force German, and so they are stationed all over the world. So I have German students in Germany, I have German students in America, I have German students literally wherever they are. In Afghanistan, now not anymore, but you see what I mean. And this is so amazing. You can build a platform, you can design a curriculum, all online, which also has the opportunity that students can practice, for example, with their parents afterwards, like if they have the recording, they can go and they can practice with the parent. And I always encourage that too. Like you're speaking a little bit of French because of your grandson. I think it's really encouraging and important. And I have many families that started with the kid and then the parents wanted to communicate with the kid in the new target language, so they learned it too. And that is so much easier now online. You can just use your little iPad or smartphone to do so.
Fascinating. Wow. Okay. So what are you going to be doing 2 months from now as we approach Christmas? And how are you going to package your training into Christmas gifts?
Yes, I package it as a great opportunity for all age levels. So I will have some special Christmas bundles, and I love Christmas. Christmas is part of my heritage as Germans. We celebrate heavily because we start on the 24th and continue on the 25th and 26th. So it's a really, really big event. So this is always exciting. My kids are always happy because they get the gifts before the other kids in America on the 24th at night. And then on the 25th and 6th, we celebrate. So this is like part of the starter package during the Christmas time is the whole Christmas holiday, all our traditions and the wording to it and songs. I love singing, I love music, I love acting. So I do a lot of music and games to encourage the students, and it's a good part of a New Year's resolution too. Why don't I start something new, whether I'm an adult or give this power to the kids? Because I also use it as an empowerment for teenagers, where they have their own special language that's not dictated by their school or that might not even be offered by the school. Many private schools actually don't have foreign languages. And so many parents reach out to me and say, we really miss a foreign language. It's an excellent private school, but they have nothing, or they only have Spanish, but we are from Europe, so we want French or we want German.
Fascinating. So when you deal with Americans, particularly in the military, are they willing to learn a new language?
Absolutely. Many of them have already been in Germany, grown up in Germany, chosen German for themselves. And it's also, it helps them with their career. If they are successful, they have more opportunities to get stationed in Germany, which they really enjoy a lot. Yes, and they get extra accolades for having a foreign language.
Interesting stuff, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay, so as we come to a close here, it's gone by too fast.
Absolutely.
But I want you to come back and do more of a deep dive. Let's talk about learning computer stuff
Mhm.
relative to what you're teaching.
Okay. Learning computer stuff compared to language acquisition?
Well, yeah, as a useful tool.
Yes. Well, yes, we all realize that without computer skills, we don't get anywhere. Everybody had to retrain themselves, because it was like this huge thing. That's why, like, the beginning, like when my two kids started Zoom in March of last year, it was a learning curve for everybody, especially older teachers were really struggling because they were not that involved. Whereas the new generation, they are amazing. Like, whenever I need something super fancy, I ask my kids, especially my daughter, because she's in 11th grade and she knows the stuff out of curiosity. They are so engaged online, because they do research, they watch movies and stuff. And so, yes, it's utterly necessary and essential and comes as another learning tool to all of us, because without it, we can't do anything. Even you and I, just to Zoom together, we need to have basic skills to get this done.
Right. I just keep my hands off the keyboard and just let it work.
Yes, exactly. Because sometimes there are still problems, right? It's a bit like the advertisement with the telephone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Because sometimes things are still weird. Yes. But that's why computers are like a must-have now. And most of all, you can travel the world, with your mind and personally, which I like the most. The world has gotten so much smaller. I chat much more with my friends abroad, and I love it.
Okay, one more time. Say slowly your website.
bulanguages@nowsite.com.
Say that one more time.
bulanguages@nowsite.com.
At what? I'm so sorry, I'm not hearing at. When you say at,
Nowsite.
N-O-W?
N-O-W, and then site like a website. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
But the easiest way to find me is really just look for my name, Barbara Ulmer, or for my business name, BU Language and Learning Center, and you will find me on LinkedIn with my webpage. You will find me on Google. I'm easily found.
Great. I've really enjoyed talking with you and learning from you. And I look forward to doing this again. Perhaps between now and Christmas, we can find another 30 minutes.
Yes, I'd love that. And
Thank
again,
you.
thank you for having me, Ed.
Thank you. All right, this is Ed in San Diego, and that's Barbara in the Houston area. Great. And we go around the world together here.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.